For the second time in 2 weeks, Republicans are dealing with one of their own and a Nazi scandal, which is not the sentence you want if you are a Republican trying to hold the House majority and the Senate majority come 2026. So last week, it was this young Republicans group with a bunch of texts in which they seem to admire Adolf Hitler and those sorts of things. Basically, all those people have been fired from their jobs now. This week, it's a guy named Paul Ingrassia. Now, Paul Ingrassia is a very young guy. He's 30 years old, who was nominated by Donald Trump to run the Office of Special Counsel, which is not what you think it is. The Office of Special Counsel is an quasi-independent agency within the administration that oversees whistleblower claims, the Hatch Act, which is, our presidential people who are on official White House roles. Are they acting in a political capacity? You can't do that. So it's that sort of stuff. It's kind of an internal role more than anything else. Well, this guy, Paul Ingrassia, this is not the first time he has been in the news in a negative way. CNN reported a while back about anti-Semitic tweets and social media activity. Well, he is back in the news for a text message group where he said, among other things, MLK Jr., Martin Luther King Jr., was the 1960s George Floyd, and his holiday should be ended and tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. That was one of them. He also said, in response to someone else on the chat said, Paul belongs in the Hitler Youth with Uber Gruppenführer Steve Bannon, to which Ingrassia responded, I do have a Nazi streak in me from time to time. I will admit it. Okay. So, I don't think Ingrassia was going to be the head of the Office of Special Counsel anyway. His hearing had been delayed for months because of the past controversy. John Thune, who is the Senate Majority Leader, came out on Monday night after these text messages about I do have a little bit of Hitler in me were revealed and said that he hoped Donald Trump would drop Ingrassia. Now, Trump may well drop Ingrassia. I mean, any other president would drop Ingrassia. Now, Trump is not any other president, but I would assume Trump will get rid of him because when you have the Senate Majority Leader saying this guy's not going to get approved, and there's a upcoming hearing on Thursday where Ingrassia is supposed to sit before the Homeland Security Committee in the Senate, where Democrats would just absolutely go to town on him. My guess is between now and Thursday, Ingrassia gets pulled, probably today. But that's sort of more of a minor point. How does a guy with views like this get nominated to run a agency within the White House? Like, this isn't, first of all, it is bad when you have people, shouldn't need to say this, but I will. It is bad when you have people within the party voicing sentiments that seem to be sympathetic to Adolf Hitler. Okay? For people who watched or read what I wrote and talked about before with these young Republicans, I basically said, like, look, I think it's kids acting dumb, which doesn't forgive it. At the same time, Donald Trump has created a culture where these sort of views are touted, this sort of idea of toxic masculinity. Okay, that's that one. This one, I mean, this is an adult. He's 30. And this is not just some random, right? Someone who's affiliated with the Republican Party. This is someone that Donald Trump or someone close to Donald Trump said, yeah, out of everyone in the country, we want this guy to run the Office of Special Counsel, right? This is not some random. This is not a New York Republican. This is a person that Donald Trump's administration purposely chose to run an independent agency within the White House. That, to me, speaks to at best, very poor judgment, right? And look, the thing I used to say in news is one thing is an anomaly, three things is a story, right? If three things happen together, you're like, there's something going on here. Well, we now have two incidents in 2 weeks of Republicans, including, to me, this one is more serious because it's a appointee of Trump talking nicely about the Nazis in private text conversations. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. And, ideally, Donald Trump would come out and say, look, this is not who we are as a party. This is not who we are as a nation. Had I known this about Paul Ingrassia, I never would have picked him. And now that I do know this, I'm pulling his nomination. I would hope Donald Trump would say that. If past his prologue, he probably won't, because that's just not who he is. But yeah, as a major political party, you don't really want to have two headlines in 2 weeks about people within your party sympathizing with the Nazis. Seems pretty obvious, but here we are. As always, ask you to just do one thing for me, which is hit that subscribe button. You get free content like this every single day, and I continue to grow as an independent news creator. Okay, take care.